Uh, my name is Bob Smith. I'm a state senator from the 17th Legislative District, which is parts of Middlesex and Somerset County. And I've been asked to describe the status of plastics related legislation in the current legislature, where it stands, and what needs to be done to get it completed. So let me start with a little background. And the background is that we've had a number of medical professionals come to the Senate Environment Committee, which I chair, and they have reported to the senators that plastics are killing us. A lot of time people think that plastics are only related to this continent of plastic that's in the Pacific Ocean. Uh, but that's the least of it. If any of the viewers of this tape would go to their nearest hospital, ask for a blood test, and ask them to specifically check for plastic particles, microplastics, you're going to find them. They're in you, they're in your organs, they're in your blood. You can do air sampling at the top of the Alps and all the plastics you can handle. You can take the fish out of our nearby oceans or trout or whatever out of our nearby streams. Plastics are in them. And the impact on the body is just beginning to be understood, but it's bad. And the medical professionals have indicated we really have a challenge here in trying to get microplastics, nanoplastics out of the environment because it's only getting into us and impacting our health. So last term, we managed to get a couple of really good bills done. One was Senator Greenstein's bill, Public Law 2023, Chapter 318, which directs the DEP to consult with the Plastics Advisory Council on what they should be doing. And the Plastics Advisory Council was part of 2022 legislation that began the single-use plastic bag ban bill in this state. And according to the Food Council, that's 8 billion plastic bags out of New Jersey's environment. If you look around, New Jersey is a cleaner state. You see these bags clogging up storm sewers and waving from trees that line streets. It's a much cleaner state. We still have plenty of plastics we got to deal with, but that was a very good step in the right direction. So in the legislature now, there are, I would say, six good bills that help to address the plastic problem in New Jersey and nationally. So the biggest single bill that's in the legislature now is Senate Bill 3398, which is also called the Producer Responsibility Bill. And what that does, and it's in my committee now. We've had three hearings on it so far, two in the last term, one this term, actually last week, and it has big stuff in it, like it sets as the goal in New Jersey for a 50% decrease in plastic packaging over the next 10 years. Also, the elimination of toxic substances as part of the materials that are being put in plastic products, because again, that stuff leaks, exposes human beings to risks they really shouldn't be exposed to. So it's a work in progress. It's still in my committee. We're trying to get it right. There are a couple of states around the country that have adopted producer responsibility, but only like three or four. So we're comparing how it's working in those states and what has the best opportunity for success in New Jersey. It sets up a stakeholders group who every year try to cut down the amount of plastic in various products. It's very, very stakeholder friendly in the sense that industry is a big part of that committee. But as long as we're working toward the reduction of plastics to 50% over the next 10 years, I'm happy. And it's always a good thing if you can get the regulated community to agree with how it should be done. So that's the purpose of that council. Anyway, it's still a work in progress. Next bill that's getting a lot of attention and came out of committee this past week is S 3195, which is the plasticware bill. Wherever you go today, if you're given a plastic bag that contains a knife, a fork, a spoon for one-time use. You throw it away, and guess where that gets to? Gets to the nearest landfill and ultimately degrades into microplastics and nanoplastics, and then it gets in your body. So we're trying, and the truth of the matter is a very simple bill. It says that you have to ask for it. You have to ask for the plasticware in order to get it, that it's not the automatic default position of restaurants and industry and gas stations. If you don't ask for it, they're not supposed to give it to you. Now, how much of an effect it'll have, I don't know, but I do think that the more New Jerseyans are aware of the health impacts of microplastics and nanoplastics, the more they're going to say, I don't want to do that. And it sounds crazy, but for example, I'm broadcasting from my law office and I have brought to work a knife, a serrated knife, a metallic fork, and a metallic spoon, just like the ones we have at home. But the point is, I don't need to ask for it. If I order a lunch, I don't need the plasticware, and I specifically say I don't want the plasticware. So I think the bill has potential to greatly reduce the amount of plastic that's in the environment. Anyway, the plasticware bill came out of my committee last week. S 3195. It's now in appropriations, and it'll be lovely if everybody could send their cards and letters to Senator Paul Sarlo, who chairs the Appropriations Committee, and say this is a worthy bill and it should be released. Third bill on the list is S 3619, and what it's going to require is that by 2030, all of our washing machines sold in New Jersey must have filters that are designed to remove microplastics and microfibers. And the reason for that is you'd be amazed at how much stuff is in your clothing. And when you wash it, it comes out. And if it then goes into the local sewer, it's going to end up in the local sewage treatment plant and it's going to end up in the waters of the United States or in the ocean. And again, we have to get plastics out of the environment. So that's a worthy bill. That's was just introduced and it was referred to the Senate Environment Committee. So don't be surprised to see that in the spring of 2025. Um, next, next bill is S 224, and it's Truth in Recycling Labeling. When you buy materials that have plastic packaging, you'll frequently see the chasing arrows symbol. It looks triangular, but it's chasing arrows. And that's supposed to be the symbol indicating that the plastic is recyclable. But what it doesn't take into account is what are the regional recycling facilities in the area. And um, this may be an instance of greenwashing where uh, the companies making the packaging are just saying it's recyclable because there's one recycling plant in Wisconsin. So that doesn't work. There has to be, in order for the chasing arrows symbol to be meaningful, it um, has to indicate what materials can be recycled in the region. One of the things we're thinking about for this, and it's still in committee, is having a code instead of the recycling symbol, the chasing arrows. Put a oh my God, what's the name of the code? The SR code. You see it on TV when people are selling
QR
stuff.
code?
The QR code. I missed my first letter. So anyway, one of the thoughts here is that we require QR codes, and then when the person uh, puts their phone up to the QR code, they get information about what is the current situation in New Jersey. They can tune to any of the 50 states, but they get the information about New Jersey, whether this would be, quote, recyclable or not recyclable in New Jersey. And one of the things that happens if you put plastic waste in recycling and it can't be recycled, it screws up the batch. It screws up whatever you're doing with the plastic. So we think that that information is needed by consumers in order to appropriately recycle plastic materials. And then we have a Senate Resolution 99, which urges the EPA to issue drinking water standards uh, for microplastics in water. And that will result in our water treatment plants putting whatever that additional control is so that we're not getting it in our tap water, our bath water, or our shower water. Um, and that's in committee, but you know, if I can get a couple more committee meetings, I'll get them out. Our schedule is greatly reduced, which is unfortunate because these bills need to be vetted thoroughly. Nothing is easy or uncomplicated. They all require tweaking in order to get them right, and we'd like to get it right the first time. So that pretty much is the current legislation. There is another bill, 3135, which is the Plastic Reduction Act, but we've now put that into the producer responsibility bill, the 50% reduction in plastic packaging over 10 years, and the end of toxic organics being used in the manufacture of the plastics. So that's what's going on. The Plastic Council continues to operate and make recommendations for new legislation. And I certainly would ask that anybody who's watching this program, if you have a good idea, we love good ideas. My legislative office number is 732-752-0770. You're welcome to send in your cards and letters. And if you have a good idea, we'll be happy to try it out.
Okay, well, thank you so much. I know you have some family obligations and you couldn't make it tomorrow
Right.
on Friday, but we want to bring you
Right.
for a tour. We want to make a date for you to see the EOC labs and the work we're doing here.
Love it. And just so you know, I mean, not making it up. I have a granddaughter who was accepted at Emerson University in Boston. So tomorrow starts Parents Weekend. Now
Oh, okay. No,
we're grandparents, but we are expected to be there. So I have to apologize for not being able to be there, but you know, we're going to continue to work together to get this serious environmental problem solved.
okay, and one last question. I know that you are a powerhouse. How likely is it to pass the entire, how likely is it that we'll have a governor that will sign this?
You talking about producer responsibility?
All of them, all of the bills that you're talking about.
So every one of those bills has opponents. The biggest bill with the biggest set of opponents is the producer responsibility. But you name it, and they're opposed to it. Very whole number of industry groups who I think are being very short-sighted. We really shouldn't set our economy and our environment based on profit. And plastic is cheap. It comes from fossil fuels. It's very cheap to make, very cheap to mold into anything you want it to be. The problem is it's killing us.
Mhm.
So we have to change their mindset because the opponents are huge. If you came to that hearing last week, or if you want to see, listen to it because all this stuff is recorded, you'll hear an awful lot of groups opposed, and they all start with, "Well, we really want to do the right thing, but." And
Mhm.
the but is keep plastics in the environment to the maximum extent possible because it's relatively cheap as a packaging material. So it's going
Interesting.
to be hard. The answer to the bottom line question, it's going to be hard. There's
Okay.
huge enemies.
Okay. All right. Well, we're looking forward to you being there. We'll support what your guys are working on, and we'll continue to come and encourage our researchers like DB to continue to testify. And but thank you for all you do.
Thank you very much.
All right. Take care now.